This is the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550. And now, here's your host, Sarah Mosen.
Happy Friday, folks, and we're heading to the weekend. How are you, Pat?
I'm very well, Sarah. And you know what? I want to just say this is a very cute copy point that we've talked about, that we were going to talk about on yesterday's show, but we got gabbing and we didn't get there. But I really like this, and I think it would be good for us to talk about it today. And it's for better, for worse, in financial sickness and health.
Right.
And I know that you have talked to many couples, and the number one key ingredient to getting on the road to improvement and success is transparency, isn't it?
It is, and it's a word that actually I kind of acquired through you. It's a great word, and it is often alleviates a lot of stress and financial woes when you're communicating as a couple. And I think this will be a favorite for a lot of the guys. If you can, this terminology, I love it. It says commit to a money huddle, Pat.
Oh, I like that.
So if you love football, this could work really well.
Yes, and most of us New Englanders here, and we love football. So a money huddle. So that just simply, to me, it gives you certainly a visual of getting together in a huddle, but you're on the same team. You've got the same goal. You're coming together with a plan, right?
Right. It's like make room in your schedule just for regular conversations. Instead of making it into sort of having a confrontation about what did you spend on. I realized that, I found out that you have this separate credit card, whatever. Get into the sort of constant communication when it comes to finances and not having to hide anything, because at the end of the day, this is what creates such a high rate of divorce, unfortunately, that your finances are not in order, or one is a spender, the other is a saver. You can be proactive. You can create budgets together. You can look for any warning signs with what's happening with expenses that are incurred. And the reality is that we just want to keep it really simple. We want to keep it light and simple when it comes to spending money, and make sure that you're constantly communicating with each other, because when you stop communicating, that's when all this stuff comes out, where you may discover that there were some expenses that are now going to hurt both your credit scores because of the fact that you may be holding accounts that are jointly held. And a lot of folks may not realize that having joint accounts mean literally even your savings account, checking account, your credit card accounts. That's going to affect you when it comes to payments if you're delinquent, or the balances. If the balances are high on the credit card, then it's going to affect both your credit scores.
So it is time. I love that money huddle.
Yeah.
And, over the years, my husband and I, trust me, we had our lively discussions at times with what we thought we should or shouldn't be doing with money. And, we came up with some rules that we both abided by. If it was small things, and I'm talking small things like under $20, no, we didn't necessarily have to confer. But if it was anything higher, like say over $50 or $100, we made a pact together that we wouldn't make that purchase without conferring with each other. And it really, really helped us tremendously. Now, you as a couple out there, as I'm talking to so many couples in our listening land, you might come up with some other rules. Maybe the two that I just mentioned that work for my husband and I wouldn't necessarily work for you, but you come together in that money huddle. And the Bible talks about, God loves marriage, and he loves us two to become one, and you need to become one in all things. And a money huddle would give you that ability with your finances. And then, you're going to see as you come together and you're transparent that there might be some places you need some help or some improvement. And that's where expert Sarah comes into play. And I just want to give out your number right here, Sarah, again, 1-800-662-9550, because a lot of times, after people become transparent and they're a little surprised, they didn't know there was this credit card or that credit card or this account or that account, but there's always ways to improve things, aren't there, Sarah?
There is, and as I've said before, it's just being constantly aware about what what's going on in the household and expenses. And as I've said before, we are licensed in over 37 states. We have 50 wholesale lenders, and we are offering interest rates that are at all-time lows. So essentially, we have conversations throughout the country. I know for myself, I'm eternally grateful to Salem Radio and to you, Pat Ryan, for having this wonderful partnership that we've had. And I've also realized, in fact, I was talking to Marita, our wonderful producer, that as we air our shows, we're also on iHeartRadio and the TuneIn application and, ChristianRadio.com. So we're reaching all audiences, and it also gives me great joy to be thankful to a lot of other great people, which I mentioned the GNC Greentree and Bridgeville location in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because they have been wonderful to us in respect to our sponsored athlete, Sarah Werner, who has been doing these fitness camps for ladies because of the fact that she has that experience. She's also my personal trainer. And I truly believe, Pat, that health and wellness go hand in hand together with financial freedom and being able to have that balanced approach. So I do encourage folks, if you're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to reach out to Darren, the owner, with GNC Greentree or Bridgeville locations, and you'll get a 25% discount if you're there physically visiting. If you mention my name, you can mention Sarah Mosen. And I encourage folks to support, businesses, local and elsewhere as well. It's very important to be supportive of your community, and we're all about being of service to others as well. As I was saying, Pat, Glenn Meekum is also a radio personality, a great friend of mine, introduced me to radio about 9 years ago. I was a guest, and I frequent his show as well as a guest, as well as some other programs with Salem Radio, David Spoon Experience, and Jim Turner's program in Florida. So I do want folks to understand that we're here to educate and inform, and certainly I do that openly and happily with the shows that I guest on, plus our daily program here in Massachusetts and our programs in Florida. So just so folks know what we're about, we're all about being supportive and helpful, and we want to make sure that people are reaching their goals.
And Sarah, we kind of started off today's program with the for better, for worse, and financial sickness and health. How about if we take the last portion of our program and speak to the first comes love, then comes credit woes?
I like that transition. I know I got a little carried away, but I wanted to thank a few good friends of mine.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just an air of gratitude to you, as well as some of these great people that have surrounded us through the years. The woes and
no, and for us too. I mean, I know for us, for Salem here in Boston, as well as our Orlando, Florida, and we've got a station out in California. Actually, Salem has 102 radio stations across this wonderful land. But we're delighted, Sarah, that you have come along beside us and partnered up with us and virtually changed people's lives and their finances. And, just a couple of minutes ago, you made mention of balance in all things. And that is what the scriptures say, balance in all things. Your physical being, your spiritual being, and all of that comes into play with the finances, because that is the nucleus of our world in many, many ways. And the Bible says the love of money is evil, not money. So if you're doing the proper things with money, just like King Solomon says, nothing new under the sun, then you're going to have a much more amicable world that we're living in here until we go home to the good Lord.
Right. And I mean, it's actually changed my life. I mean, I'm inspired daily by our listeners. Believe me, the conversations that I've had, I feel very privileged to be able to share the information that we can give you, because essentially it's only here to better your life in respect to your finances and well-being. Guidelines change daily with wholesale lending, and certainly I'm very happy to hear and announce that we can do more. Each time that we get on the air, you've noticed, Pat, that we can offer a lot more products and give people that hope that they need. So missed mortgage payment in 12 months. If you miss 1 month and your current you can still continue to have hope and get refinanced with us if you're at 580 scores. And then coming back to like love and couples,
and we got to do it quick because Marita's starting to flap her arms over there. Yeah.
Well, I think essentially don't be the weakest link. Okay, there you go.
Love it. That's good. That's good. And if you want to hear more, Sarah's number, the free phone call 24/7, 1-800-662-9550.
Stay well, folks.
This has been the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550.